The last sighting of Tammy Dubuisson was on May 22, 2024, after she was seen near her home on West 139th Street and Sherry Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. She lived with her boyfriend, James, and over the last years, the couple had been known to argue. But in May 2024, they had an argument so explosive that Tammy was never seen again. James claimed that she walked out on him and the family home, but chilling evidence suggested something more sinister had happened to Tammy. As police investigated further, they realized James might be involved.
Sounds crazy though. Agreed. But the house stinks, and you can smell that house 5 houses down.
So what we're here to do is to make sure that you're not some kind of like maniacal serial killer.
It kind of all just hit me. It sank in, with my mom being missing and not getting any clear answers, I pretty much knew deep down what we had just discovered.
Before we begin, we would like to express our deepest sympathies to the family and friends of Tammy Dubuisson and those others affected by this case. Tammy Lee Dubuisson was born on October 21, 1967 in Fort Wayne, Indiana to her parents Donald and Alice. She grew up as a happy and healthy child and eventually went on to have a daughter of her own with her long-term boyfriend James Drahos. Although friends and neighbors have had mostly good things to say about Tammy, they can't say the same for James. Their life together was far from peaceful, and James had a history of violence against her. In fact, his temper had landed him in jail on more than one occasion. In May of 2024, their relationship was at a breaking point, and Tammy walked out on James with the intention of returning to her family in Indiana, or at least that's what James told Rochelle and the police. Tammy never made it to Indiana, and James didn't report her missing. That was left to their daughter, Rochelle. Rochelle became worried about her mother after she hadn't heard from her for a few weeks, so she contacted her parents' neighbor and asked them to investigate. When the neighbors found no sign of Tammy, the decision was made to call the police. This was June 19th, almost a month since Tammy was last seen. The Cleveland Department of Police paid a visit to Tammy and James' address to investigate the disappearance, but what they found would leave more questions than answers.
Cleveland Police.
No one answered the door, but there was no immediate evidence of foul play, leaving officers with little to go on. But that would change 3 weeks later. On July the 7th, a frustrated Rochelle drove over to her parents' house to get some answers for herself. But her father was being evasive about the whole thing, claiming Tammy had gone to Indiana after they had an argument. Rochelle was not convinced by his story, so she decided to investigate further. While searching the driveway, Rochelle stumbled upon something that could change the face of the investigation. She believed she had found a fragment of bone and immediately called 911. This would prompt a second visit from police, but this time they weren't leaving without answers.
We want to speak with you. We got an investigation going on. I just need you, just come to me, please, James. James, keep your hands where I can see them.
Hold on, let me get my pants tied up.
You guys gotta go through that one.
Yeah.
You see both hands?
Come on to me, James.
What's up, man? How are you?
Step out past me, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your cooperation.
Come on, let me get my pants
We're
up.
gonna help you with that. Turn around, put your hands behind your back real quick, okay? Here you go, James. Hands back here. Hands back here. Thanks. James, anybody else in there with you? Yeah, thanks.
Is there anyone else inside the house, James?
Hound dog.
What's your dog's names?
That's Augustino.
That's what?
Augustino.
Oh, Augustino. Cute.
Is there anyone else?
Okay.
All right, listen, let's turn around this way. So I don't want you to walking down the stairs and fall back, okay? Get your pants going all over.
I need some gloves.
No, what
Let's just
happened here?
walk down this way.
What are we doing here?
You got anybody else home?
Is there anyone else in the house?
No.
Okay.
Step
Let me just cover behind you.
James wasn't making much sense at the time, so he was sent to be checked over by a doctor. With James on his way to a local hospital, officers were free to start a search around the house, and they had no idea what might be waiting for them inside.
Police! Cleveland Police Department! Hi, puppy.
You want to hold that? We're going to circle around. Yep. Just go in the kitchen and cut right.
Blue, Blue. Hi, puppy. You're okay. Good dog. Good dog. Basement.
Basement.
I can hold this.
All right.
Ready?
Yep. You go left. I'll go
Yep.
right.
You got it. All right. Cross space, put like space behind the steps there.
Take this door here.
Good placement on the drone. Got the dog down here with us.
All right. We're good here. Clear.
We just gotta clear this back there.
Clear.
Okay, we good?
Yep.
Got one every night.
Was there any crawl spaces, attics, or anything?
Not upstairs.
Got your drone.
Basement's clear. Hold on.
Sadly, there was no sign of Tammy, at least not alive. The bone fragment that Rachel found in the driveway wasn't the only evidence to indicate something sinister could have happened to Tammy.
They're finding more bones around the house.
Are they really?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if it's her. It's got to be her. But we'll see.
That's fucking crazy. That's gonna be all over the news.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Can you test dogs? Like, if they've eaten?
For what?
Like, if the dogs are back there eating stuff?
No, they can't test them, but they'll know that by dog teeth marks and bones. Yeah. That's how they know when some dogs or any kind of critter.
They're all scattered around. That's my
Yeah, I thought dogs or raccoons or something. Yeah. So it's crazy though. Yeah.
Agreed.
But the house stinks. And you can smell that house 5 houses down.
You guys, a bunch of guys were wiping or coming out of the house.
Very strong odor in there of like bleach or luminol, but urine essentially is what it is. You know, so you get that and then just that those chemicals. It's like walking into a meth lab almost. Yeah.
They sound like 3 times this weekend.
You sure you don't want to keep them?
That's exactly it.
You want to take them home?
I'm glad we didn't want to do there.
Yeah, I didn't go in there. But
Crazy.
Yeah.
all right, guys.
Till the next one.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Inside the house, officers found even more bone fragments and noticed various odors, which they described as a mix of bleach, cleaning chemicals, and urine. It didn't take the officers long to realize this was no longer a missing persons case. They could be looking at something far more serious. James was the only person who could give them any answers, but making sense out of him wouldn't be easy, and he seemed more concerned about himself instead of his missing girlfriend.
I can't get out of all my jewelry.
Trying to get your jewelry out, yeah?
Yeah, this is my concert piano thing. I played piano for years.
You did? Yeah?
Oh God, yes.
Were you in a band or anything?
Oh yeah, I was in Kid Lonesome, Pony Express. I toured with Shane Phillips everywhere.
With who?
Shane Phillips.
Shane Phillips?
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a goofy guy.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get this off because they want it off.
Oh, they do? Yeah.
This one I got off. I can't get this off because I can't feel my way around. This has been on me for years.
Leave it.
And then this is all lamb beads. This comes off like this. I made it myself. I made them out lamb bone. Ah, that's that. I got some Italian white gold. It's in here somewhere. No, that's that one.
You feel okay?
Yes.
Yeah?
Why? Do I don't look right?
No, you look fine to me, but looks can be deceiving. Sometimes people don't feel good and can't really tell by looking at them.
Yeah, maybe I'm losing my mind or something. I don't know.
The officers weren't at the hospital for a social call or to check on James's health. They had enough evidence to suggest that James was somehow involved in his girlfriend's disappearance and might have known where she was.
We would like to talk to you about, well, you guess. Why do you think we want to talk to you?
Because I'm sick.
Well, we're not the paramedics. In a former life, I actually was a paramedic. But
Really?
Yeah, I still am, just not a practicing paramedic. But that's not why. Not because you're sick. Why might the police want to talk to you, do you think? Is there anything going on in your life, or can you think of any reasons we might be here?
Oh, the Tammy problem?
Right, the Tammy problem. Right.
Yeah, she ran away.
Perfect. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Just some more detail, like when that happened, what was going on?
God, that happened in the middle of May.
Okay.
James had told Rachel the same story as the police. He claimed he had an argument with Tammy and she stormed out of the house. But he said this happened in the middle of May when she was allegedly seen near her home on the 22nd of that month. Was James getting confused, or did he have more information that he was letting on?
So what happened in the middle of May?
Me and her got in there.
Okay.
And she ran out the front door, and that was it.
Do you remember what day that was?
I think it was about the 15th, I think.
Okay. And what was the argument about?
She got pissed at me all the time. And she said I didn't bathe enough. And that I didn't get a job and everything, and then she just left.
Okay.
And what Rachel said is she's a hitchhiker kind of girl.
Okay.
I remember that. And because I remember her showing up in a Freightliner one day, and she was running on the road with some other guy. His name was Ivan.
Ivan. Okay. So it might help us to understand her and your relationship a little bit leading up to this. But you guys, I think, were married and then not married for a time, and then
No, we were never married.
Okay. So you just lived together as partners.
Yep.
Then you didn't for a period of time. Is that right?
Yep.
You lived with someone else, maybe?
Yes, I did.
And then you guys got back together, you and Tammy.
Yep.
Okay, so I have at least that progression, right?
Yep.
Since you got back together the second time, like how long have you lived with Tammy?
I'm trying to think.
Like what year was it? I don't need a date.
I don't know, sir.
Okay. It's fine if you can't remember.
8, 9, 10 years. I don't know.
Oh, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but then she got tired because I have no income.
Okay.
James and Tammy had been arguing on and off for years, but according to James, the tension had escalated in the last few months.
Back to like kind of when things were starting to sour, and she was really on you. That was more recent. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And
a month and a half ago, I'd say.
Things got kind of boiling over.
Oh, yeah. She's like, you ain't working, you ain't doing this, you ain't bathing enough, and all kind of stuff.
She was really putting the boots to you, it sounds like, huh?
And she walked.
Okay. So on the day that she left, do you remember that day?
Yeah, well, it was in the evening.
Okay. So like approximately what time?
7 o'clock, maybe.
Okay. About 7 p.m.?
6 or 7, yeah.
So she
walked out the door.
What'd you do? Pack a bag, grab some stuff, shoot out the door? Okay. What did she take with her?
All the clothes on her back and her jeans.
Where was she going?
God knows.
Had she ever done that before?
I think she hitchhiked.
Okay, so you think she hitchhiked right out your front door, or what'd you do? Walk up to Puritas and grab a ride there? Did you see her walk up to Puritas?
No, she went that way towards Spiritus.
It wasn't unusual for someone to pack their bags and walk away from an unhappy relationship, but Tammy had left behind her phone, ID, and other important items that she might normally have taken with her when she left the house. That not only raised suspicion, it meant that police couldn't track Tammy's phone and had no idea where to start looking for her. Any information they could get from James could prove crucial to finding her.
Why do you think she was hitchhiking? Where did that come from?
She does that all the time. She's always in a different truck or something.
Okay. She's
over all these years.
Frequent hitchhiker, huh? Where does she go when she hitchhikes?
At first I thought she went back to home in Indiana, but...
Okay.
And,
but now you don't think she did that?
No, because her sister never seen her.
Okay.
Her sister is named Tarina Collins.
Yeah. Did she call you? Did you see her again?
Nope.
Did you have any visitors over to the house that stayed with you after she left? House guests?
I had my daughter over, that's about it.
Okay.
The investigators were convinced that Tammy was already deceased and closer to home than James was telling them.
So you haven't had any contact with her after about the 15th, yeah?
No, I never, no.
And you're sure you saw her leave the house?
Go and look.
Yeah.
Dig through the house. Go.
Well,
even my neighbor goes, "Oh, you buried her in the backyard?" I go look.
Why?
No, I didn't.
Why would your neighbor say something like that?
Because he's a joker.
James was completely unaware the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that the bone fragments were human, and the officers would use that to their advantage.
What do you think we might have found around the property?
What?
What do you think we might have found around the property? I mean, look, this isn't going to be a big shocker. So what we wanted to do is just figure out what happened here, and so we can all move on, right? But what do you think we might have found around the property?
Beer cans.
I actually don't know if we found a bunch of beer cans. We didn't. We didn't find beer cans. Jimmy, we found some bones. We found
bones?
Yeah. Found some bones. So we want to talk to you about the bones. Jimmy, listen, hey, there are a lot of reasons that things happen, and it sounds like, especially Tammy was really after you, and we're understanding people, but we just kind of have to know the truth, right? And we found human bones on the property of your house. Not just in one place, in a few places. So what we're here to do is to make sure that you're not some kind of maniacal serial killer, right? Which I don't think you are. You seem like a very friendly guy, frankly. But we do have to get an explanation for this, right? We have to figure out what happened.
The officers backed James into a corner that he would struggle to escape from, and he would finally reveal what happened to Tammy Dubuisson.
This argument, I'm assuming, got physical at some point.
Yeah.
And was she pushing you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And were you pushing her?
Self-defense.
Okay. So tell me about that. What happened?
It was to the point where she's an angry Irish woman, and she was always pushing on me, right? And I pushed back.
Okay.
And that's what happened.
So tell me in more detail, and I'm sorry to make you relive it, and I do feel for
Oh
you.
God, don't make me relive it.
We kind of have to. I mean, you understand.
She was always a troublemaker.
Okay.
Always drinking really hard. And she would always turn stinky mad. And we got in a fight, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, a serious fight.
Yeah. So tell me what happened in the fight.
Well, you know,
I know what ended up happening, but how did the fight go down? Where did it happen?
in the driveway.
Okay.
Yeah, it was over there, and I thought she was going to walk away, but it ended up being, I don't know. You ever meet somebody that's strong as you, even though they're smaller than you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in self-defense, you gotta do what you gotta do. You get a couple punches here and there, and that's it.
So is that what happened? Did you end up having to punch her?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
because she punched me.
Right. And where did you punch her when you punched her?
In her head.
Okay. So you punched her a few times in her head, and is that what killed her? Did she stop moving right then, or did you have to do anything else?
No, that was it. You know, I don't know.
So you're in the driveway punching her, and that's when she expires. Is that right?
That's about it, yeah.
Okay. Did you sustain any injuries? Like, did you have to bandage yourself up or go to the hospital or anything like that?
Oh, I got bandages at home.
Okay.
Pure
So you did it yourself. You didn't have to call EMS or anything like that, right? Did you have to use any weapons? Like a knife or a gun or anything? Like a hammer or nothing?
No.
Tammy had suffered devastating blows to the head and was in desperate need of help, but instead of calling 911, James left her suffering for around 8 hours. When he checked on her the next day, she had passed away. It's difficult to imagine the pain and suffering Tammy must have endured before she succumbed to her injuries. But things would only get more sick and twisted after her death when James told the officers what he did with Tammy's body. Just a warning, those details are not for the squeamish.
The next question is, what did you do with her after that happened?
Black box.
What black box?
Garbage.
Garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
So at the house, there's like a black box,
Well, yeah.
and you put her in this black box.
I waited a month until I put her in 2 construction bags.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
And I hauled her to a dumpster
Okay.
in my wagon, and that was it.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what else to do. There was a million maggots.
Yeah, I'll bet. Where was she until you hauled her to the dumpster?
In the black box.
Where is that black box?
Do you mean a black garbage can
Yes.
that's in your driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
So she was in the black garbage can in your driveway,
Yes.
in one piece.
Yes.
Okay. And then you took her out in 2 pieces and put her into 2 bags. Is that right?
No.
I thought you said maybe I misunderstood. You put her into 2 bags? Or you double bagged her? Is that
Double.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I double.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sense.
Yeah,
So you put her, because there were a million maggots, you threw her in these 2 bags, and then you put her in a wagon that read like a wagon, like a radio flyer wagon.
And I walked her up to a dumpster over there behind the other places.
What dumpster? Behind what place? Behind the school? Across the street, or?
Yeah, well, that would have been, managed waste, I think it's called.
Waste management, yeah. So a green dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
Where exactly was that? I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Where is it?
The dumpster. What dumpster did you put her in?
Io non conosce, hold on. It was, the one behind the school.
The school that's right across the street.
Yeah.
So you put her in the wagon and took her to the dumpster behind the school?
With 2 bags on her.
Okay. You know that you're going to be under arrest for this, right? We have to take you into custody on this. So from
when?
Tonight. I mean, listen, you understand the drill.
No, I don't.
Okay. So we are going to book you for aggravated murder and abuse of a corpse tonight. Okay? That means you'll see a judge in the next couple of days, and you'll go through an arraignment process.
You mean I gotta sit in the clink?
Yeah. For sure. So that's got a lot of court things are going to happen in the next month or so, but that initial part happens very quickly, and then we'll end up taking the case to a grand jury, and they'll decide.
When do I get home to my dogs?
As well as aggravated murder, James was also charged with gross abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and domestic violence. His bond was set at $1 million. His trial was supposed to begin on October 28, 2024, but it was postponed until January the following year. The delay seemed to give James time to reconsider his position, and 2 weeks before his trial, James changed his plea from aggravated murder to involuntary manslaughter. The trial would be an emotional affair, with both James and Rachel having their say.
It kind of all just hit me. It sank in, with my mom being missing and not getting any clear answers, I pretty much knew deep down what we had just discovered. Pretty much told me, they caught me. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, taking your mom out.
In the end, it was never a question of whether James would go to prison, but rather how long his sentence would be. In February of 2025, he finally got his answer.
For this felony of the first-degree involuntary manslaughter, sir, the court is giving you the maximum time of 11 years on the minimum side of the indefinite sentence. As we discussed before, your maximum side on that count alone will be determined by that sentence, which is 1/2, or in other words, 50% of that 11-year sentence, 5.5 years. So on that count alone, you're to receive an 11 to 16.5-year sentence.
There is no punishment that can make up for the loss of a loved one, especially in such a sickening way. But hopefully, James's 14-year sentence will bring some comfort to Rachel and all of Tammy's friends and family, who might just have gotten the justice they deserve.